G'day and welcome to JoeJoeMoto. Today I'm going to show you how to diagnose and replace wheel bearings on a dirt bike. Okay, so as you're washing your dirt bike and keeping it immaculate, it's a good time to check your wheel bearings then, or once you're drying the bike and doing the chain lube and that sort of thing. It's a really simple process. Up on the stand, and it's a matter of just holding the swing arm or something, and if you give that tyre a wobble backwards and forwards that way, you'll find that it will have movement or it won't have movement. And if it's got movement, your wheel bearings are shot inside there. Mine definitely has movement. So the tools and equipment you're going to need for this job, we've got ourselves a big crescent wrench here for removing the axle nut. You might have your own tool for that one. We've got a hammer and a drift for bashing out the old bearings. We've got a seal picker for removing the old seals, but you can use a screwdriver if you want for that one. We've got a strop towel and degreaser here for cleaning up the parts before we put them back in. We've got a big pair of internal circlip pliers. This is for the KTM. Not sure about other dirt bikes, but definitely for the KTM you're going to want some of those. Makes it a lot easier. A flat bit of wood here for bashing in new seals and the bearings. Also got the big socket here for bashing in the bearings as well as we go down. And then we've got some grease here for greasing up some parts as we put them back into the bike. So the first step is you're going to want to put your bearings in the freezer for a couple of hours. So maybe do this before starting the job to leave them sit and really cool down. So now that the bearings are in the freezer, it's going to take a couple of hours for them to get cold enough to contract down to a nice small size. So we're going to remove the wheel, get out those old bearings and be ready to put in the new ones. You're going to have some sort of wheel spacers either side. KTM ones you actually have to knock out sort of thing. They're pretty well fitted in there. I've got here, I think it's a brass drift here. So I'm going to put the drift all the way through until I know that I'm on the other side of the, I guess the other wheel spacer. So if I give it a few taps either side, we turn it over. See, I've knocked out the wheel spacer here. So you can see the KTM ones are quite tight fitting. Same with the other side. So the next job is to remove the oil seal. I've got a seal puller, but you can use a flat blade screwdriver and wedge it in there. Very handy to have. See how easy that comes out. So it's time to knock the old wheel bearings out, and we're going to go diagonals, you know, pushing across, pressure on one side, pushing it on the other. Now on a KTM I know that it does have a wheel spacer, like a big long tube spacer in between the two bearings as well. So you just got to be mindful of that, that you're moving that spacer out of the way each time when you're pushing pressure on it to get down to the bearing. It's going to take a little bit of force, and you just want to keep going different angles, a couple of taps each way, all different angles. That's knocked out now. You'll see there's the old wheel bearing there. Feeling pretty notchy and pretty gross. I know that some dirt bikes, especially the KTM, I know it's definitely got one there. It has a circlip to hold the bearing in on one side, so it's going to be a matter of getting our big circlip pliers here, the ones that pull inwards, and removing this big circlip. The other side doesn't have one, but just check carefully before you start bashing on your bearings to see if there is a circlip in there for sure. Now that the circlip's removed on the other end, I know I can bash through here and get that bearing out. Again, we're just going to be doing the diagonals without that spacer in the way. Should be a little bit easier. Pop right out. And going from different angles. Awesome. Now that all of that stuff's removed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up all inside the hub, clean up the spacers, clean up the tube that goes inside, the spacer, whatever that's called, clean it all up, ready for the new bearings to go in. So your spacers are almost a bit of a wearable part, especially on a KTM, because the oil seal runs along there, and mine's run a really big groove in it. I might replace those spacers, I think. So I'll have to wait for another day. Alright, well we're back now, totally different day. I've had to order some new spacers. These bushing spacers were totally flogged out and they just weren't going to work. Alright, so bearing is fresh out of the freezer there. I'm going to do one bearing at a time because I want them to stay nice and cool. This one's nicely contracted. That's the point of having it in the freezer there, is so that the metal contracts and it just makes it easier to bash in. So when we're bashing on the bearing, just a quick little note, you want to be bashing on the outer rim, definitely not the inner rim there. Let's see how easy this guy goes in. Slotting in there pretty nicely. We've got a nice big socket here, and I'm going to keep making my way around the edge of the bearing. Yeah, she's going in nicely now. Nice and easy. Again, you're hitting on the edge, outer rim of the bearing, not the inner. You can hear the sound change as it seats, and it's right down the bottom. You can hear that there. The sound totally changed. So it's seated right down the bottom, ready to put the circlip back in on the disc side on the KTM. As with before with these big circlips, you've got to be careful. They are under a lot of tension. You don't want them going flying around and hitting someone or something. So I'm just squeezing that together. Carefully prying it in, there we go. Going down inside there now. And basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's pushed down all the way. You can hear it clipping. Right. So don't forget to put in your spacer between the two bearings here. I've done it a few times. You've got to knock out your new bearing. It's not a lot of fun. But I usually put a little bit of lubrication on here, a little bit of grease on the outside and inside. Just stops it from seizing up, especially on the inside, because your axle goes through here and your axle can get rusty and stuff like that. So you don't want it getting stuck and hard to get out again. That guy in, down in the middle. Perfect. Ready for our nice other cold bearing. Alright, second cold bearing, fresh out of the freezer. What I sometimes like to do is use my little block of wood here and be hitting it down nice and flat, just going around in sort of little circles to get that seated down nicely that way. And then from there I use my, my socket, again on the outside lip of the bearing, tapping it down until it seats home. It makes a different sound. You'll know when you do it. Trust me, you'll know. Don't know if you guys heard it, but I definitely heard a different sound then. Alright, so here's our new oil seal ready to go on. Nice and clean. So you put it in there by hand, just sort of snug in there, ready to go. And if I go hitting this with a hammer around the edge like that, it's just going to topple out and not sit in there right. So we've got our flat bit of timber here, holding it nice and flat as well. And again, you just tap out slowly. And I'm just sort of going around in the circle, and I can see this part's going in a bit faster. So I need to be hitting over this side a little more. And once I do that, then it's sort of flattened out. And I just keep going around, checking it every now and again. And these will just go in until they're flush with the outer part of the hub. Again, the sound changes because it's definitely sitting there flat, nice and home, ready to go. Awesome. Now, both of our new bearings and new seals on both sides. Here's our new bushing, spacer, whatever you want to call it, ready to go in. It's brand new, so I'm going to put a little tiny film of grease on there so that it can slot in nicely and fit in properly. Give that seal something to run on first up. These take a few little taps sometimes to get in there. I'll just use my block of wood as well, just in case. Don't want to be too forceful. There we go, it's sitting home. To the other side. The wheel is ready to go back on with fresh bearings and seals. Awesome. Okay, so this is sometimes a bit of a tricky part. So you've got to get it all lined up. You'll note that I've got a chock under here as well. It just sort of helps with not having to lift the wheel, the whole wheel and everything while you're doing the chain and the disc and lining up everything there. Through, axle nut back in, done back up to your specifications. Probably now's a good time to adjust your chain as well. That's it, wheel bearing's done. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this has helped you out. Share it with your friends if you thought it was helpful. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And I'll see you on the next video.